Hey guys, welcome back to the Butterfly Effect podcast. I'm your host, Liam. I'm joined by Jack.
Hello.
And before we get started, if you're wondering why it sounds like I've eaten barbed wire for breakfast, that's because A, it's true, I'm very poor, but also B, because I've got COVID. So yeah, we're just going to crack on with the video, guys, but I do apologise for my raspy voice. Today's video is going to be all about the devil in me. We've done a few analysis videos where we've been looking and breaking down the trailer to see if we could spot anything. And Jack and I kind of went away and we had a few theories that built up over time. And we just wanted to discuss them with you, really. Now, the first theory I had was, I say the first theory we had, it was probably more you that found this one, is that there are a lot of similarities to the Saw movies and franchises that, Jack himself loves. So we've got the whole cages, the traps in the house. So we thought that this game might potentially have some nods to Saw, whether there's the whole Jigsaw serial killer. Jack spotted the person in the life support machine, so we had this whole theory that maybe the killer was on borrowed time. Now, I looked further at this shot here of the person in the life support machine on the chair there, and I just thought the hair kind of looks like it might be red, kind of longish. And I'm thinking what relevance this would have in the game, and it kind of looks like it could be Jessie Buckley. So I just started playing with the theory that what if Jessie Buckley is the killer, or potentially a nod to the Saw movies, an accomplice, like Amanda Young was to John Kramer. So yeah, I just kind of was thinking about why this could be a feasible thing, and I thought, yeah, life support machine, it looks a little bit like Jessie Buckley. Also, as Rui commented in our last video, is Jessie Buckley is an amazing award-winning actress, and this would be a good use of her skills. What a way to use someone's range of, someone of high caliber acting such as Jessie Buckley. Why not make them the killer? Go from this nice person who's helping all, the rest of the cast out, to someone who twists in a heartbeat. You're also thinking that the game's set in the modern day. Why would this be a thing? This person in a life support machine looks potentially elderly or with health problems when, Jessie Buckley's character isn't in the game. Well, I thought in further nod to the Saw, it might do a timeline twist. A few of the Saw films do this twist, especially in Saw 2, I think is the one, where the events that happen are in the past. So it might be that Jessie Buckley is from the future and she's talking about the events that happened within the game. There's not much to cement this theory, but I just thought it could be something that is cool. We know that Supermassive like to throw their twists out, and this wouldn't be like a fake out ending twist, but it would be a timeline twist. So yeah, could be the truth, might just be me stabbing in the dark with nonsense. But yeah, Jack, what do you think of this theory?
I really like it. I like the fact that one of the playable characters could potentially be the killer. I mean, we said in the previous one, didn't we, mate, that we'd love to see like a Heavy Rain style thing where the big twist is that she's the killer, and then obviously with the added time element as well, that would be quite a neat idea. And you know what, as you were speaking then, it shares something with Little Hope, doesn't it? The potential with different timelines, and of course this particular theory is different because it's not in someone's head necessarily. They're just recounting the events that happened previous. And imagine your first playthrough, like the camera's like zooming in on this figure and you see that it's Jessie Buckley, elderly, and you realise that she was the killer or she was accomplice. But I suppose one thing that I'd say coming back to you actually is, how do you reckon that would fare for like replayability wise? Do you reckon that would make Devil in Me an outstanding game for initial playthrough, but then going back less so? Or do you reckon it would like enhance the game, maybe like Heavy Rain?
It is one of those interesting ones where it would be interesting to replay it again and watch her character. If you play Heavy Rain a second time, it is very much like you look at, spoiler alert if you haven't played the game, just get lost because we're spoiling Heavy Rain so hard for you guys. When you play Scott Shelby's scenes, it is dead interesting to kind of look at him, say, like, dispose of, like, the mobile phones, or question people to like cover his back, or maybe intimidate, potential copycat killers so they back off his work. And it is really that interesting to play it the second time. So it is a good question. And it is one I couldn't answer for you. It might actually enhance replayability, but it also might worsen it. It could really go one or the other way. It really depends how they execute this game, Jack.
Yeah, because you think there could be certain lines of dialogue that initially you wouldn't think anything of, and then you play it again with the knowledge of what the ending is, and you can sort of see a double meaning, almost like with Josh at the beginning of Until Dawn when he's doing the tape and he's saying all these things. I can't wait to spend time with each and every one of you, and it's got that sort of sinister undertone to it. So yeah, I mean, I really dig it, mate. And you know what, to add to this as well, we know that her character name, it's Kate Wilder, isn't it? And sort of the precedent that Supermassive has done recently with House of Ashes is that they like to give characters names or surnames that tie in with the particular theme that they're covering in that game. So with House of Ashes, it was vampires, wasn't it? Let's face it, that's what the thing was about. And of course, you had surnames such as King, obviously referring to Stephen King, who did Salem's Lot, and then there was Kolchak as well. So they do have history on this. And looking at the surname Wilder, I popped it into Google, and there is actually a serial killer called Christopher Wilder, who over the course of 6 weeks in 1984 across 8 states in the US killed and tortured young women and girls. So obviously a bit of a downer, but as clue hunting goes, that might be something to chew on. And of course, when the surnames of other characters do get revealed, maybe that's something we should look into. And you know what, funnily saying that, adding on to that, I did put in Charles Lonnet into Google as well. It come up with this other serial killer called David Franklin. Now, I'm not as confident on this one because the name isn't identical and it might be a bit far-fetched. This Lonnie David Franklin was better known as the Grim Sleeper. He was an American serial killer that was responsible for 10 murders in Los Angeles between 1984 and 2007. So yeah, I couldn't find anything for this Grantham Dumais, but we'll just have to keep our ears to the ground, mate. So who knows, maybe that little Easter egg could help your theory.
Really early to tell, but it's nice to get these theories bouncing around. To steer away from theories, The Devil in Me sounds going to be quite different to the previous 3 Dark Picture anthologies that we've had. And, they have confirmed, haven't they, that they're going to add climbing, the inventory, and also there was something about puzzles there you mentioned, Jack. Is this something you can elaborate on?
Yeah, so not too much, but to be honest, it just really piques my interest, because this whole running, jumping, climbing, is that something that we've seen already in Until Dawn, when you've got an option to climb or jump? Is it something like that? Is it that when you're actually playing as the character, you can mantle over things and potentially, cross into another room to find a clue that you wouldn't otherwise be able to do in another game? I think as well, the character inventory, I really like the sound of, and I feel like it's sort of an evolution from the Quarry, because if you think about the Quarry, you do have situations where you can take the teddy bear, you can take the fireworks, you can take the gun. So maybe there's a moment in the menu where once you take them things, you're able to then store them, so that maybe later on in the game that could possibly help or hinder you. So I really do like the idea of that addition, and just in general the fact that they are evolving these games and giving up these little additions. It's really good for preventing it to go stale,
Do agree, because these games, especially for people that aren't like us, that really are in games for gameplay, and that's fair. These games aren't everyone's cup of tea. It is nice to see these, you know, interactive story dramas or whatever you want to call the genre steer more in a gameplay friendly way, where they add cool features such as climbing and, you know, additional puzzles and inventory. So like, yeah, with the inventory, it just sounds like an intriguing thing. I wonder how big that'll be. Will it just sort of be an added sort of tab in the menu where you can see what you've got on you? Is it something where you can interact with in a scene when you're walking and, you know, have it in your hand? I wonder how elaborate it's going to be. And also for the climbing, I wonder how this is going to work. Like you mentioned, is this just kind of like interact with like a wall where you can do it and it's almost like it, you know, they're just kind of overhyping it? Or is it straight up going to be like, yeah, you can do some full-on climbing and they've added a whole sort of game mechanic there? And does this have the potential to be glitched as well? Like, imagine if it's like Alan Wake where you get stuck on a bridge. So yeah, there's just a lot of questions here I do have. You mentioned like puzzles as well earlier, mate, that tool-based puzzles. I'm really intrigued by that as well, and I wonder what they mean by this.
Yeah, as well, and actually, again, thanks for reminding me, because again, with the Quarry, again, if you've not played Chapter 8 of the Quarry, then I'd perhaps like skip the next 20 seconds or something, because I'm going to spoil something here. But you have that sequence with Jacob, don't you, when he's trapped in the cage, and you've got to, you know, use the breakers. I didn't expect for Supermassive to give us a puzzle. I failed it, but I think the fact they've set that precedent now, and I think going into this game, I know that there's going to be puzzles, and I like doing puzzles anyway. I like sort of working things out and problem solving in general. So big thumbs up from me. It's they're certainly making all the right noises so far.
Yeah, I know, because we're both escape room enthusiasts, aren't we? We enjoy them, and it kind of adds that, you know, other element to this genre we already love, and now they're kind of almost bringing more puzzles into it, and it just sounds like it could be good. I'm just always, I'm over skeptical with these kind of things. I'm thinking like, is it going to be kind of like PS1 game sort of level puzzles here? They say tool-based puzzles, and that could really go one of two ways, but I'm also intrigued. It'll be really interesting as well, like with that breaker puzzle, to see if this is something that can kind of, you know, actually play into the game, whether a puzzle is, you know, can cost someone's life, for example. So yeah, we'll have to see how that one goes. So yeah, brilliant stuff, mate. So are we ready to move on to the next section with the comments?
Fire away, mate.
Okay, brilliant. So in this section, obviously, we made a video before where we broke down the trailer, and Jack and I just thought a lot of you had some really good comments, and we just thought it might be worth bringing some of them up so we could comment on them. So this comment here by Philippe Pichler, or Pickler, sorry if I mispronounced your name there. I'm sure a pretty big theme of the game will be possessions, because they mentioned it in their last QA in winter, I think. The picture with the killer and the axe standing in front of the building is very reminiscent of The Exorcist. Maybe all 5 playable characters got possessed once and built their own trap and don't know about it, and when they enter the castle, or simply H.H. Holmes possessed the new killer and kills through him. Now, that is a very interesting theory, and like we've done digging for our theories, you've done the exact same. You found some parallels, and I really admire that, Philip. So like, it's interesting, and I don't know if I'd be a fan of it. I don't know about you, Jack, but I quite like the idea of this game just being straightforward, no nonsense. We've got a serial killer who's, you know, bringing 5 people into a building. You know, there might be a twist here or there, like a timeline twist. I don't want another fake out, you know, bus driver ending. But yeah, I don't know if possessions would fit nicely into the theme of this Devil in Me game. But I'm also open to it if it's done executed right. I mean, Jack, how would you feel if this game brought possessions into it?
Yeah, I think I share your concerns. I do think that just a simple serial killer thing would absolutely be fine for me. Whole possession angle, I do wonder how it would come into it. You know, maybe that the site that the hotel is built on, because it's a new build, isn't it? Maybe it's built on some land where there's some unrest with spirits. Maybe at the start of the game, in the prologue, you actually see H.H. Holmes, and I do think there is actually a still in the in the trailer, where it does look like it could be the killer. It looks like it could be H.H. Holmes. So maybe in the prologue, it does typically seem to be in the past with these games. Maybe we see H.H. Holmes, and then the spirit world somehow comes into it from there. But yeah, I've got to say, I just lean into a very classic. There's a killer. He wants to kill people for his own sadistic reasons, and we've got to save everyone and work out the various reasons, like his motive and stuff like that.
Yeah, like maybe we have a copycat killer, or we have lineage and it's like H.H. Holmes' descendant. But yeah, I'm open to possessions, just maybe not in The Devil in Me. Maybe in one of the later titles, such as Intercession or The Craven Man or Winterfold. But yeah, maybe not possessions for me on this one thing. But I really like your thinking there, Philip.
I do think it has legs, this one. I think if you look at the sort of the poster for The Exorcist and you compare it, it does look remarkably similar. So I do think that Philip's onto something there.
Yeah, fair play, Philip. Well played. Nice bit of digging there. So, Jack, any comments you found yourself?
Yes, I've got a comment here from the Hoodie 315 who says, "I just can't shake this feeling that we're getting played by the Curator. Each game he's watching us at learning how we play, and the last game he's going to be the final boss." So, I mean, mate, before I say my point, what's your take on that?
Yeah, I mean, we both agreed that we want the Curator to play a bigger role than what he currently has. And we both think he will. We don't think he's just going to be a narrator. It's not the way Supermassive Games roll. We know with Dr. Hill and Eliza, they definitely play the part in the story. And I'm now questioning what the Curator's role is. And I think it would be a good twist. Dr. Hill was the figment of someone's imagination. Eliza just sort of was against the walls, but had, like a different sort of motive and kind of like was on a different side. But she's there trying to get you on her side, but she's not exactly a villain. How cool would it be if the Curator, who's this like friendly figure who's been trying to help you the whole time, has just been there studying you, the way that the Hoodie words it, and then out of nowhere they kind of go against you. Whether it's the right way to execute it or not, I'm unsure. But yeah, like the theory, it's got, like you said, it's got legs, and it would certainly be an intriguing one, that I would somewhat welcome if done right. How about yourself?
I think conceptually, I absolutely love it. The idea that we're playing this series of games and like the Curator is making note of every choice that we make. So like, because you think we try to go in and, save everyone, right? That's what most people do. So like, if it was somehow layered into the game that like your decisions were being picked up, and then obviously when you go into this game, you see that he is, he's the villain. Maybe he plays on that. Maybe he plays on the fact that you want to be nice, and therefore he tries to get you killed. But I think from a technical game building viewpoint, it's going to be extremely difficult. And I think that the more likely thing is that, yeah, it will be just sort of more of a story level thing. Maybe, I don't know, because the Curator, he's got the waistcoat, he's got the bowler hat, because he maybe looks like H.H. Holmes.
But yeah, that's the end of the video, guys. Thank you very much for joining us. Let us know if you have any more The Devil in Me theories, what you thought of our ones, or the ones that we've referred to in the comments. And let us know as well what you think of the features, whether you think they're going to be happily welcomed, whether they could like fall flat in certain areas. And yeah, be sure to look back at our other videos that we've done on The Devil in Me and future DPA games. We've got a potential Mothman theory for the Intercession game, and we did a trailer breakdown, which was a lot of fun to look at. Jack, anything from you?
Yeah, so for those of you that don't know, we have been doing Quarry videos as well, and we do have a second channel, which is the Butterfly Effect Podcast bonus. So definitely go and check that out. It will be in the description, and you can watch Liam's gameplay of the Quarry.
Thank you very much for joining us, guys. I'll see you in the next one.
See you in the next one.